Imagine a shadow slicing through the clouds at Mach 5, invisible to radar. Its AI brain processing a million decisions in the blink of an eye. No pilot in the cockpit, just a swarm of drone wingmen unleashing hypersonic missiles that strike before the enemy even knows they're there. This isn't science fiction. It's the dawn of a new era in aerial warfare, where machines hold the power to reshape global conflicts overnight. And right now, in 2025, nations are racing to build these beasts, pouring billions into programs that could decide who rules the skies for decades. But what if the winner isn't who you think? The story of fighter jets begins in the muddy trenches of World War I, where rickety biplanes like the Sopwith Camel danced in dogfights over Europe, their wooden frames and fabric wings a far cry from today's marvels. Pilots relied on sheer guts and marksmanship, with top speeds barely cracking 100 miles per hour. Fast forward to World War II, and the jet age exploded onto the scene with Germany's Me-262, the first operational jet fighter, screaming across the skies at over 500 miles per hour. It was a game changer, but the Allies caught up quickly, setting the stage for generations of evolution. The first generation focused on speed and basic jet propulsion, like the F-86 Sabre in Korea. Second gen brought supersonic flight and missiles, embodied by the MiG-21. Third gen emphasized maneuverability and avionics, with icons like the F for Phantom dominating Vietnam. Then came fourth gen, multi-role fighters like the F-16 and Su-27, blending agility with advanced sensors. Fifth gen introduced stealth, the F-22 Raptor and China's J-20. Ghosts in the machine that evade detection while striking from afar. Each leap wasn't just about technology, it was about power, deterrence, and the shadowy geopolitics that drove nations to outdo each other. Billions vanished into black budgets, rivalries simmered, and alliances formed and fractured. Now, as we stand on the precipice of the sixth generation, the stakes are higher than ever. These aren't just planes, they're systems of systems, blending human ingenuity with artificial intelligence in ways that blur the line between man and machine. What defines a sixth-generation fighter? It's not a single feature, but a revolutionary ecosystem. Stealth evolves beyond radar evasion to full-spectrum invisibility, countering infrared, acoustic, and even quantum sensors. AI takes center stage, enabling optionally manned operations. Pilots can fly from the ground or let the jet think for itself in high-risk zones. Hypersonic speeds push boundaries, with engines that adapt in flight for efficiency or raw power. Directed energy weapons, like lasers, zap incoming threats without ammo limits. And then there are the collaborative combat aircraft, swarms of loyal wingman drones that extend range, gather intel, and sacrifice themselves if needed. Costs skyrocket into the trillions globally, fueled by economic might and strategic necessity. Geopolitically, it's a chessboard. The US seeks to maintain dominance. China aims to challenge it. Europe struggles for unity. And emerging powers like Turkey and South Korea carve their niches. Hidden facts abound. Most people don't know that early concepts date back to the 1990s, buried in classified reports, or that quantum computing could make these jets unhackable fortresses. But as programs advance, suspense builds. Who will fly first, and at what price? Let's start with the heavyweight contender, the United States Next Generation Air Dominance Program, or NGAD. Born from the ashes of post-9/11's air superiority needs, NGAD traces its roots to the early 2010s when the Air Force realized the F-22 and F-35, mighty as they are, wouldn't suffice against rising threats like China's J-20. The program kicked off in earnest around 2014, shrouded in secrecy, with prototypes flying as early as 2020. Demonstrators that tested radical designs like tailless configurations for ultimate stealth. By 2025, the landscape shifted dramatically. In March, Boeing clinched the contract to build the F-47, the world's first designated sixth-generation fighter, beating out rivals like Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman. This wasn't just a win for Boeing, it was a nod to their innovative approach. Leveraging lessons from the X-32 and recent drone tech, the F-47 promises a combat radius over 1,000 miles, adaptive engines for hypersonic bursts, and seamless integration with collaborative combat aircraft, those AI-driven wingmen, that could number in the dozens per mission. As of December 2025, the program is accelerating. The first production model is underway, with a maiden flight slated for 2028. Funding: the fiscal 2025 budget allocated $3.3 billion, but whispers of black budgets suggest more. Geopolitically, it's a power play aimed squarely at countering China's advances in the Pacific. Hidden fact: most don't realize NGAD isn't just about the manned jet. It's a family of systems, including space-based sensors that could direct strikes from orbit, but tension mounts will budget overruns, already a plague on the F-35, derail this behemoth. Meanwhile, the U.S. Navy's F-A-20 program runs parallel, tailored for carrier ops. Entering operational testing in June 2025, it faced an 84% funding cut in the 2026 NDAA, dropping to $74 million amid congressional debates. Yet it's pushing boundaries with variable sweep wings for extended range and AI that predicts enemy moves. The Navy's version could sink traditional carriers by making them obsolete, relying on unmanned swarms instead. Rivalries here are internal Air Force versus Navy budgets, but the bigger picture is global dominance. As costs climb, estimated at $300 million per jet, questions linger. Can America afford to lead? Across the Pacific, China is not just catching up. Some say they're surging ahead. Their sixth-generation program, shrouded in even deeper secrecy, revolves around the Chengdu J-36, a heavyweight stealth beast that's already taken to the skies. First sightings emerged in late 2024, but by November 2025, prototypes were flying in formation with the J-20, showcasing tailless designs for extreme maneuverability and ultra-long range, potentially 2,000 miles without refueling. A second variant, the JXDS, appeared at a secretive base that's being called China's Area 51, with rapid expansions hinting at accelerated testing. Reports indicate for flights by early 2025, with design tweaks like refined intakes for better hypersonics. Geopolitically, this is Beijing's bid for air supremacy in the South China Sea and beyond, fueled by a defense budget that's ballooned to over $130 billion. Hidden secrets: intelligence suggests quantum radar integration, making U.S. stealth less effective, and AI that's learning from vast data sets stolen in cyber ops. Most people don't know that China's program might be 3 to 4 years ahead of the F-47. Per some analysts, thanks to state-driven efficiency and fewer bureaucratic hurdles. Suspense builds as prototypes evolve. Recent footage shows sleeker fuselages, suggesting production could start by 2030. But at what cost? Estimates peg development at $50 billion, with power plays involving rare earth minerals that China dominates. The emotional stakes are high. This isn't just tech. It's about reclaiming historical dominance after centuries of Western superiority. The rivalry between the US and China echoes Cold War tensions, but with AI amplifying the dangers. Imagine a scenario where swarms clash over Taiwan hypersonic missiles dodging lasers. Decisions made in nanoseconds. Money flows like water. US contractors lobby for more funds, while China's state-owned AVIC churns out prototypes at breakneck speed. Future impacts: a shift to unmanned dominance, where human pilots become relics, raising ethical questions about autonomous kills. If this deep dive into the US and Chinese programs is already reshaping how you see modern warfare, take a second to like the video and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and bring you more of these eye-opening stories. Turning to Europe, the Future Combat Air System, or FCAS, represents an ambitious but troubled trio: France, Germany, and Spain, with Belgium joining as an observer in 2023 and fully in 2024. Launched in 2017 to replace the Rafale and Eurofighter by 2040, FCAS envisioned a networked system with a core fighter, remote carriers, drones, and cloud-based command. Historical depth here ties to post-WWII European integration, nations pooling resources to avoid U.S. dependency. But by December 2025, the program teeters on collapse. Political friction peaks. France pushes for Dassault leadership, Germany demands equal workshare for Airbus, and Spain's Indra seeks tech transfers. A key deadline loomed at year's end for phase 2 the demonstrator build, but ministers' talks in December yielded no deal, with sources calling it very unlikely to proceed. Geopolitically, it's a microcosm of EU woes. Brexit isolated the UK, leaving FCAS vulnerable to internal squabbles. Costs over €100 billion projected, but delays have ballooned expenses. Hidden fact: most overlook that FCAS includes loyal wingman concepts tested in secret since 2020. Potentially salvageable if the program fractures. Suspense grips stakeholders. Will Germany pivot to join Italy's GCAP? As rumors suggest, emotional buildup. This could fracture European defense unity, handing advantages to rivals. In contrast, the Global Combat Air Program, or GCAP, formerly the UK's Tempest, shows smoother sailing. Originating in 2018 as a British initiative to succeed the Typhoon, it merged with Japan's FX in 2022, adding Italy for a trilateral powerhouse. By June 2025, they formed Edgewing, a joint venture with equal shares, accelerating development. The Tempest concept boasts adaptive wings, AI-driven sensors, and energy weapons, aiming for 2035 service. Status: two-thirds of the demonstrator built by mid-2025, set to fly in 2027. Geopolitically, it's a counter to US-China duopoly, blending UK's BAE expertise, Italy's Leonardo Avionics, and Japan's Mitsubishi Stealth Tech. Costs hover at $50 billion, with Power Dynamics favoring exports, Canada joining in April 2025. Surprising twist: Italy's tensions with FCAS fuel talks of inviting Germany, potentially unifying Europe. Most don't know Tempest's roots in 1990 studies, hidden in mod archives. Build up as prototypes near, the alliance strengthens, but export restrictions loom as hurdles. Russia's entry, the MiG-41 or PAC-DP, blends bravado with uncertainty. Touted since 2017 as a Mach 4.3 interceptor replacing the MiG-31, it claims space edge altitudes and laser weapons. Historical context: Soviet legacies like the MiG-25 inspired it, but post-Ukraine sanctions cripple progress. As of 2025, number confirmed flights despite 2025 promises. It's more vaporware than viable. Geopolitically, it's propaganda to deter NATO, but economic woes: defense budget strained at $100 billion limit reality. Hidden designs draw from cancelled projects, with TV pundits inflating specs. Tension: if it flies, it could challenge Arctic dominance, but skepticism abounds. Emerging players add layers. Turkey's Tycon, officially 5th gen, but with 6th gen upgrades like AI bays, flew first in 2024. By 2025, a second prototype assembles, with Gulf interest Saudi and Egypt joining talks. Costs $10 billion so far. Geopolitically positioning Turkey as a NATO outlier. South Korea's KF-1 Borami, a 4.5 gen with 6th gen AI elements, nears production. 40 ordered by mid-2025, deliveries in 2026. The KF-1EX variant promises full stealth. Japan's FX folded into GCAP, but standalone concepts linger. Comparing these programs reveals stark contrasts. Technologically, China's J-36 leads in rapid prototyping, with tailless designs edging US adaptive engines. Timelines: USAF 47I's 2030 entry, GCAP 2035, FCAS uncertain beyond 2040, Russia dubious. Costs vary: US at $28 billion through 2029, China opaque but efficient, Europe fragmented. Geopolitically, US-China rivalry drives innovation, while Europe risks irrelevance. Future impact: wars become orchestrated, with hypersonics shortening conflicts, but cyber vulnerabilities could ground fleets. Power shifts to nations mastering integration, raising money's role, trillions in global spending. Emotional crescendo: these jets are tools, they're harbingers of a world where skies decide fates. As we peer into this future, the real question is, in a world dominated by 6th generation fighters, Who will truly control the skies, the machines, or the nations that build them? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you crave more deep dives into the tech, shaping tomorrow's battles, hit subscribe because the next revelation might just change everything.